All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at Chief Sealth Stadium in Seattle to see week 2 of the MLU as Seattle Rainmakers take on the visiting Portland Stags. I'm Dave Bestock. I'm joined here by Jake Cooper. On a windy day, it should be a pretty exciting upwind, downwind game as the teams are getting ready to go here. And first and foremost, we're going to go down to the field now where Jenica Villamore is joined by Seattle coach Ben Wiggins. Jenica?
Thanks, guys. I'm here back at Stealth Stadium. With me is head Rainmakers coach Ben Wiggins. So you are coming off a fresh win from the Vancouver Nighthawks, and here you are again back at your home stadium. How are you feeling going to this next game?
It's nice to get a first game in, got some of the nerves out. We went back to practice field a couple of times this week. We were able to look at some of our holes on offense and defense and video, and so hopefully we've been able to correct some things.
And you guys have actually played the Stags before in a preseason matchup, and you guys won pretty handedly. Do you feel pretty confident going into this game?
We feel exactly the same way as that first game. Any team can win on any given day. We're coming out here looking to get a win from a good team. A lot of us have grown up playing against these guys. It always goes back and forth, so this is going to be a good one.
Did you change anything different since playing them, maybe strategy-wise?
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to move the disc off the sidelines a little bit faster, and defensively we're working on sticking to people even far away from the disc so we can set up for those third and fourth throws.
So you are coming off, basically 2 wins, a preseason win against the Stags and then again with the Vancouver Nighthawks. What do you think is working for you guys?
Yeah, we have a lot of energy on defense. I think our home crowd will bring it. We'll be ready to go on defense, especially with the win. There's going to be some turnovers today, so it's a matter of being cool afterwards and taking the right fast breaks and the right slow decisions.
And lastly, you're a handler yourself. Are you going to get any playing time today?
Not today. League rules, I'm not allowed to play yet. We'll see.
Got it. Well, good luck today. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man.
Coming up in a little bit, I'll be speaking with the Stags coach and even catch up with a few players. Until then, back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Jenica. Some words with Seattle Rainmakers head coach Ben Wiggins, and some discussion of the exhibition game, the preseason game that Seattle faced Portland in several weeks ago, and then Seattle coming off, of course, a win over Vancouver. They hung on to pull it out 14-12 after not scoring in the fourth quarter. So Vancouver put on a great run in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely, they got to be thrilled about this. Coming in playing a Seattle team that they're hungry to play again. You see right now Koss pulling. Seattle actually won the flip but went with the wind. You can see that wind moving pretty hard to the left. Gets a deep pull, centers it right now. You see a horizontal stack. Bjorklund in, and there's a quick turn already. Spidell picking up the D. And it looks like Holt's going to bring it in. They have a red zone offense going. It's a vertical stack. Wiggins is the only dump right now. Pushes it right in to Koss past a bidding Stags defender.
And following that D, you saw Seattle maintaining their composure, getting right into their stack and never looking shaky there. A couple of fakes and an open read Koss for the goal. Adam Holt looking solid there with the disc right outside of the end zone line. And that's going to be one of the keys today is finishing in the red zone.
Right now, Simon pulling, upwind throw. That's going to hover quite a bit. Make it about 20 yards out of the end zone. Once again, a horizontal setup for the Stags. Bjorklund moving as a cutter pretty well. Moving it all the way around to the side of the field. Back to the center. Ooh, another big play by Seattle. Call on the play, though. That was, again, one of Seattle's bread and butter help Ds.
That's right. Danny Tridiak looking like he maybe came down with some impact, or maybe there was some impact from another player. It looks like referee Bill Elsinger stepping in and regulating the play. Tridiak looks to be moving okay.
They like to play a real team defense, and so far you can see that's working for them. Moving it across with some handler movement. Very deep stack, a deep cut going up that's plausible. There's the throw. Great shot, wide open over to Friedman for the score. Beautiful throw.
McGinn, Cox and launches there. Friedman, a notorious deep cutter and athletic receiver. A great shot by McGinn there, chucking it, looked like about 60 yards downwind for the goal. A lot of space had Freeman.
It's not windy enough that an upwind goal isn't possible. As you can see with these pulls, they're still going pretty well. I mean, that's going to, well, that's only clearing half by about 15 yards, 8 yards. And you do want to see a better pull, but that wind is difficult. Holt picking it up again. There's a vertical stack. This is almost certainly a called play. You see Koss shooting deep immediately. Break with the scuba over to Wiggins. Looking around a bit. Sorry, that was O'Brien, I believe. Holt again with that lefty break over to Spidell. Spidell, can he put it in? No, good D by the Stags. Get that force on right away. There's Wiggins again. LaViolette makes a cut to the corner. And another scuba over to Holt for the goal.
That's right, kind of a Seth Wiggins and Adam Holt show there. Reed Koss left that vertical stack early on, took 2 defenders with him, and Seattle able to kind of chip up the field there.
It's okay to 2-putt. It's okay to dump it and then put it in, but make sure your passes are only 8-9 yards at max. You don't want to be throwing hammers all the way to the other side of the field. That's those red zone turnovers that can kill an offense. That's what we saw last week out of Vancouver. Pull's going up by Zemmel. Over about 20, 15 yards out of the end zone. They take it right away. Centering to McGinn. McGinn over with some handler movement. Again, that horizontal stack man defense. Strout back to McGinn. Streaking deep is Friedman again. They've got to be nervous, but Zemmel staying tight on him. Still handler movement in a slightly deep stack. Nice shot. Over to Meyer. Meyer working it up the sideline. That force is to the flick side, so they've got him trapped there. Oh, and the foot blocking. Fantastic play. That's a foot block quick turn. Got to feel good. And now Seattle looking very composed, taking their time to sit and set up and take some time. Simon with the disc. Here's a chance to go upwind. This is the first time their D has gotten that chance. Back to Simon. Simon center of the field, deep vertical stack. They're going vertical right now, forcing the man. There's a deep shot that's possible, but very difficult for Sefton. That's about a 40-yard throw upwind. Little handler movement still. That stack has not moved up as this disc is moving back. That's why it's coming out of the screen. There's a big shot over to Kinley. It's going to float like crazy. It's still in bounds. Crowd gathers. And great D by Portland, who comes over to help and knock it out of bounds.
Kinley stranded for Seattle, and the D disc goes to Portland.
Strout picks up the disc, centers it back into his own end zone. They're moving it across with the wind. The wind is moving away from us, and there's the deep shot to a very nice throw to an open Friedman. Friedman being that deep threat again. Friedman all alone. There's a 7-second stall. Looking over for some help on the dump. Manages to pass it off to McGinn. Looking around still for that easy handler movement, which I like to see. 10, Strout's got the disc. 5 yards, half the distance to the goal line because he's that close. And the Portland offense using a very spread out. Woo! What a catch by Portland.
With the man on his back, it looks like Burton was trailing him and even giving him some physicality. Portland able to hang on and show their composure in the red zone after that long shot to Friedman. Friedman showing himself early as the go-to receiver for Portland.
You know, McGinn does a really good job at keeping Burton having no access to the disc. He doesn't have an inside shot. He can't bid left and try to reach an arm around. He just has to try to go right through McGinn, and that's obviously not going to work. Pull going up. They go for a roller pull this time, which is going to creep over to that far sideline. The wind again mostly left, but a little bit away from the camera right now. O'Brien picking it up, throwing difficult over to Holt, who reels it in nice. Big shot goes up to Wiggins, who looks very open. And there he brings it down for the goal.
That is a gorgeous shot. You know, it's really hard to make long shots upwind, but downwind, you can really get that wind taking him out of bounds. And there, Holt puts on a whole lot of butter and puts some butter and margarine under that one, and it just sits there for Seth Wiggins, who got really open out of the stack there. Easy goal for Seattle, and Portland's going to have to put on a little bit tighter D than that.
Looks like a flick pull coming from Danny Tridiak, who goes for the roller. Tridiak, former baseball player. He's got a big hammer, big flick. And putting on, it looks like a new defensive line out. You see Barich on the mark over there with O'Brien. Some handler movement. Still seeing that somewhat deep 4-person horizontal stack out of Stags. Looking deep for a second at Minershagen. There's the shot. Goes up to Bjorklund. Beautiful shot again, buttery. And Sefton does not have a play at it. That's a goal for Portland.
And Friedman doing it on both sides of the disc. That's Eli Friedman with a nice flick down the far sideline. And Bjorklund able to just, again, reel it in without a chance from the defense.
Now, once again, it's 3-3. We got about 5:58 left on the clock. That clock will start once Seattle picks up the disc. Great upwind pull. And Harkness, you might remember him last week, he had the greatest over to Cost centering. And you're seeing, again, a horizontal stack out of Seattle, but there's so much movement, it's almost hard to even call it a stack. Everyone's just moving all the time. It's got to be pretty frustrating to guard this. Holt's on the sideline, being the rock of the offense again. Back to Harkness. Deep stack, but they're making it work. Over to Cost. Some shots, some looks deep, streaks deep, but there's Stags defenders behind them. And there's the shot that goes over. Ooh, a nice D over by Laurie, who manages to knock it out of bounds. The goal was to get it to Clark.
A little bit hasty decision by Harkness there, probably, to chuck that one up. They probably could have worked it in from there.
That disc trapped on the sideline going upwind. It's a long way to work, but the defense has got to be happy just to have the disc. Woo, difficult catch, nice save. Lots of handler movement. That stack is now looking vertical and moving a little bit in. Huge bid by Clark, who's got to be a little annoyed at not bringing that in. There's the throw. Very good throw. Koss is going to be able to defend it. The goal was to get that over to Hayes. There's the big shot, and Wiggins can't hold on to it. It's turning into a bit of a show out there. There's still 4:33 left. I'd like to see this under a little more control. Root centering. Still lots of handler movement. There's a vertical stack by Stags without too much movement to it right now. That's why the handlers have to do so much work. You see Minershagen again. And there's Hayes with the disc, moving it successfully over to this sideline, but there's a call on the play.
Looks like a timeout maybe by the coach. You got to know, maybe they're going to be talking about this in the timeout. Portland's got to shorten up that stack going upwind. You can't have your deep cutters hanging out deep when that throw just to the back of the stack is a lofty throw to put there. You need to make space so that guys can run on. As we saw, we don't, those long throws are going to float.
McGinn with that disc. The double team comes off right away. Ooh, difficult blade over to Laurie, who gets it across the field, but there's a call. They're going to claim Laurie traveled, but on the receiving end, so it's not a turnover, it's just a 5-yard penalty. Coming right back, that stack awfully deep again. It's still that deep horizontal stack. And, hate to see that. That was Purston with a drop. And we got a vertical stack coming out. Harkness moving it over to Sefton.
That's Murray.
To Murray, sorry. Back to Harkness, little show over there as that stack looks pretty motionless. Sefton has the disc, now they're moving. Now you see still a lot more handler movement, but he looks a little trapped back there. That's why you see so many give and goes. Ooh, fakes the hammer. Crowd a little disappointed it didn't go. And there's that very difficult throw, which leads to another break shot. Nice grab by Sefton, who's looking to two-putt it in, now looking straight at the end zone, and manages to get it into Wiggins.
Yeah, some good composure and some good quick shots from Seattle there. What I like about that play, Sefton had it there and at one point was not even looking upfield, but looking just to move it off the line. Like Coach Wiggins was saying, coming into this game, they're really looking to move it to the middle of the field because those, especially with the double teams that are allowed here in the MLU, it's really important to center that disc. Here you see B.J. Sefton making a great bid on the disc, looking to punch it in. Waits, lots of movement, lots of options there, and Seth Wiggins comes in for a little inside-out push pass for the goal.
And he just, he looked at 3 different options there. He got the disc, he looked back for an easy dump, then he looked upfield for an easy score, and then he takes what he gets at about second 5 and no worries at all.
Yeah, you got to cycle through your looks. That's a good play there.
Simon with the pull goes to exactly half field, just landing on the line. Giving both teams a chance to set up. Bringing it in right over to Friedman, who keeps it in bounds over by Meyer. There's a couple deep options. This stack looks a little more energetic than last time and a little more spread out. I kind of like it. It's isolating the man defense by Seattle. You see them all guarding one person and not a lot of chance for help Ds, which you saw so much of before. Bjorklund going right back. McGinn with a tough shot over that Strout can't quite keep in. That's with the wind. He angled it.
And there you see the spread offense in the wind being a little bit of a negative for Portland. You see Seattle with the little chippy shots with the handlers. Those shots are a lot easier than a 25-yard swing to another handler.
Absolutely. We're going to have to see right now those chippy shots, ideally, the last time there was a huck that went upwind, it was unsuccessful, but those chippy shots are going to be difficult to get away from with the stack this deep right now. O'Brien with the disc, and there's a call. It's going to be 5 yards. It's going to be a contact foul, so 5 yards. And there's awfully deep looking Trotter streaking deep. Simon moving up, and here's the possible shot. Simon takes it over to Sewell. It looks like it has a chance, and that's an upwind goal for a break.
And that's what we were talking about. That could be the start of some momentum for Seattle. We'll see how Portland responds, but that is the first upwind score. And Simon, having put up the last upwind huck attempt, this time balances it out, keeps it a little bit lower, and Matt skips Sewell, able to reel that one in. Here's the feed from O'Brien. Simon getting open up line. And puts a little bit more of a blade on it there, which dives a little quicker so that the defender can't catch up. Skip Sewell, very fast receiver, and shows the disc to everyone. Yes, he did catch that goal.
That's a power position. That's a great place to take those upwind, risky but huge reward shots. Cost with the pull. Big, deep shot. That wind, you forget about it, but now you see how that can take the disc all the way to the back of the end zone. They're going to have a lot of time to work as McGinn has the disc. Harkness on the mark right now, pretty stifling. Hannett gets it over, moving it around. This stack shortened up a lot as they're going upwind. I like that. It's opening up some options. Bringing it over to, oh, a nice catch by Meyer.
They're looking to rest and bring in a substitution.
This is a very difficult place to be, and you see that defense right there with Sears diving through, getting that undercut D. Koss with the disc. They got about 15 yards to work it. There's it's a confused stack. It looks horizontal, and then there's 2 people shooting back like vertical. Holt with a crazy, scuba lefty over to Donnie Clark.
Yeah, Holt saw a shot and takes it. That scuba that turns into a blade is actually not that hard to control going downwind, especially for a seasoned veteran like Adam Holt. There it is. Nonchalantly puts it there. Clark reels it in. Doesn't actually need to get down on the ground there to make the catch, but then, of course, maybe he did actually need to get down there. Makes the catch on his feet, but then hangs on really well as he tumbles to the ground. The crowd keeping it lively as Seattle strikes on a couple of breaks here.
Zemmel with a short pull. It's going to give Seattle a chance to set up. They look almost like they're going zone, and looks like it was probably some kind of stifled defense that didn't have a chance to work since they had so much time. Big blade across.
Tough shot. Over
to Bjorklund, who brings it down. Centering it over to it looks like Root. Back to Bjorklund, who's got an open shot and goes for the giant hammer, very open. Well done.
Yeah, nice shot over to Purston there, using the width of the field. Looking a little bit scrambled in those first couple passes. That crossfield blade is always a little exciting and scary, but
I still think win for the defense on that. Make them shoot crazy stuff to get those easy scores.
Agree. Crossfield hammer at the goal line is what the defense is looking for here.
Now here's Simon picking up the disc, and it looked like a called play, but a little bit stifled. It goes over to Koss, who shoots it direct up. Sefton with the disc, looking to move it off that sideline. He's not even facing upfield. He's just facing directly side, and they move it all the way over to Zemmel on the other sideline. These are big throws over here. Back to Wiggins. Not too much movement downfield as he's being attacked by defenders all over. The Stags going man. There's 4 seconds left and there's the turnover. They're just going to have to huck it. It's not going to work. It's not going to make it far enough, and that ends the first quarter.
End of the first period. And Seattle, it looks like there's a call, so we'll see if it's turned around or if that is in fact the end of the quarter. It looks like that is the end here as of the first period. Seattle leading 6-4, and we'll be back with more after this. And we're back here after a first period of play. Seattle Rainmakers leading the Portland Stags 6-4 here at Chief Sealth Stadium in Seattle. And for some reflections on the game, we'll go down to the field now to Jenica Villamore. Jenica, what do you think about the game so far?
Well, guys, it's definitely been a very intense first quarter. Right now it's 6-4 Rainmakers. Both teams are moving the disc quickly and then hucking it when they have the chance, but it is definitely windy. I overheard players Rainmakers say to take their time, and over on the Stags I've heard a lot of them talking about their personal matchups. It's definitely been very intense. The crowd here very pumped up. So far it's pretty close, so I'm excited to see what's coming on as the game goes on. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks Jenica, and we're underway here in the beginning of the second period.
That's right, you saw the Rainmakers pull and do one of their classic transition stifling defenses where they come down, come in zone, just showing zone for about 4 throws. And now they've got it trapped on the sideline. Nice bid, but he's going to take 5 yards over with Bjorklund, who's trapped on that sideline, getting the double team against him, puts a big shot up, Koss bidding, and I think Minershagen would have to go out of bounds regardless for that throw. I'm not sure if it ever came back in.
There's some chatter here. It looks like maybe some contact on the throw. It looks like it may come back.
That's right. Coming back to Bjorklund, who then goes for the scuba, losing about 5 yards, but getting it off that double team, which is so difficult. Moving it up a bit, still a very deep stack, lots of stifling handler defense by the Rainmakers, who are allowing that straight back 5-yard shot and just saying, that's okay with us, good luck taking it. There's a good shot by Stags, and Friedman with a giant shot over to Bjorklund, who pulls it down, and that's called a goal.
That's Laurie reeling in the goal there, and Portland pulls that one out. Portland able to get their first upwind goal.
Absolutely. See if they can follow it up with a downwind break now.
That's right.
Pull going up, deep shot over behind all the Rainmakers. They're hoping it's going to go out of bounds, and it does land out. They're going to get that brick.
Seattle will get it up at their 20.
That's right. Bringing it in is Simon. Portland going for that double team right away again. You've seen a lot of double teams in the MLU so far, and it's looking very successful. Barich with the disc, a streak in Danny Tridiak. Barich looks it off, difficult throw, gets it off to Kinley back there. They've actually lost about 7 yards since they put that disc in play, but they've maintained possession, going upwind, and there's a huge bid. Wow, monster bid by McGinn. Here we go, disc is in. He's looking direct upfield. Not trying to two-putt. There's the deep the back shot with a push pass from Friedman, and there's that break that we were talking about. That upwind leads to a break.
That's right. Those upwind scores in a stiff wind going upwind downwind are huge. Portland taking advantage now with Laurie reeling in goal number 2 there back to back from a nice little push pass from Friedman. Swings over to Friedman after they can't punch it in there. Easy shot. And Laurie reels it in. Nice job, Portland.
And that means now that Portland responded with their upwind break, with their upwind score.
That's a nice upwind pull there.
That is a great upwind pull. Portland responded. Now they've tied it up at 6s. Holt got the disc. There's streakers right away, and everyone's being backed by Portland, who are afraid of that first throw, trying to get that turnover over in Seattle territory. Harkness back over to Holt. Holt been a rock of the offense so far. He's team captain. Moves it over to Murray. Quick dump over to O'Brien, who's in a power position, but takes an easy shot over to Koss. Gaining 15 yards at a time. This is looking easy. Spido with the disc, trapped on that sideline. Takes the lefty shot over to O'Brien, who then dishes it over for the goal.
And Sewell reels it in for the goal. Seattle, great movement, and the fans respond. Lot of open players there for Seattle. Seattle downwind, and then this time they're content to take the easy openings, and it turns into a very easy goal for Seattle.
Couldn't agree more. You know, one thing Portland might have been hoping for is maybe the Seattle offense wouldn't notice the change defense and still try the same old stuff instead of just taking what they give you. We've got Norden, Seattle player, bringing it in, being double teamed, gets it over to that sideline. You know, Portland really working on that sideline.
There's a whistle.
That whistle, it's going to say they hit it when he was still in his hand. He was going for the hand block, gets 5 yards. Portland's really been using that far sideline, not throwing too many of what you just saw, that upwind swing. There's the deep shot to the break side. Simon, great grab by Pearston. Boxing Simon out, who's trying to make the D on the break side.
Timmy Person, a notoriously excellent receiver. Looks like he may have traveled here or pushed off and goes back 5 yards.
And there's a difficult throwaway, and that's going to be McGinn throwing it a little too far.
Seattle ball, disc rather, on the goal line.
Now Seattle's got their work cut out for them. They're trapped on the every single throw is upwind, and they have to work it quite a ways.
Good pressure D by Portland there. Oh, great finish.
What a bid by Purston, who then shoots it in. Monster bid by Purston, all excited, dancing everywhere.
Yeah, a great play by Person, a huge D after great pressure. Seattle looking to get dumps backfield and then sending their dumps up the line, not able to get either throw off and having to force a longer cross field pitch from Zemmel. Person covering ground, not giving him a chance, and then striking it in around Ulrich Fox for the goal.
And there's Cody all excited. Now tied up at 7s again.
Both teams able to get a couple upwinds and a nice evenly matched game, and that's what the fans want to see.
That's right, looking to stay even. That pull, I mean, you can see the effects of the wind. That pull's only going about 35 yards. Seattle's going to pick up. Holt, rock of the offense, taking it with Wiggins and Harkness as his 2 backs.
The Rock.
Wiggins going straight upfield, gets that disc, looks off Koss, who's streaking deep. I kind of like it. They're taking these easy shots. They have the game in control. Let's keep it in control. Murray moving it over to Harkness. Harkness with a very difficult break going with the wind all the way over to Wiggins. Very deep mark on Wiggins. I think they're a little afraid that he'll throw and go. Murray's got the disc. The defense is looking more active than the offense right now downfield, which has got to be exciting for Portland. There's Wiggins still moving it on the handlers. You know, you see that. There's the shot over to Koss.
And, you know, what brought that on was Seattle's backbone so far has been swinging the disc, and they're swinging it and really opening up space there.
And instead you go back to the same side, punch it in right there.
It's like going to the net.
That's it.
Taking it to the rack.
Here we go with the pull by Seattle. Good pull on this wind. Portland's got about 50 yards to go. And over to Norton. Norton trying to use this sideline. We don't see Portland there too often. There's a what a D. Incredible.
Zemmel, great strike D.
Yeah, Zemmel coming out of nowhere to pick that up. And now, once again, saving it in bounds is Kinley, who's got about 35 yards to work and maybe get that upwind score again. Taken on the far sideline and timeout called by Simon.
A great D by Zemmel striking in there, and we'll see what Seattle can do with the disc when we come back from a short break.
Kind of deciding how they're going to put their defense on. It's not quite a man-D, it's more a guarding the lanes kind of zone. Kinley gets the disc. Portland's going to have to transition, which they're doing very nicely right now. Switch right into man very, very easily, but still about 20 yards out for Seattle from another upwind score. Trapped on the sideline. Ooh, brings it up to O'Brien. O'Brien looking to get it across. Over to Barrich, it looks like. Back to O'Brien. Makes that up the line cut. Coming back to Simon. Those downfield offensive players, again, just lulling their guys to sleep. Trying to, anyway. That disc is floating. It's going to be trouble. Who's going to bring it down? There's the D.
And Zemmel trying to get a little creative with an inside-out shot there from Zemmel.
Now you see right now McGinn with the disc, and Portland's got the entire field to work with, but still they've got to be a little excited, relieved, I should say, that there was no upwind goal. I'm half surprised they didn't punt it right away, just being nervous of having the disc over there, but they're going to value possession, doing a lot of handler movement. They have a horizontal stack that's not too deep, one streaker, there's the shot, nobody can get there.
Too far. Excellent defender, but Person has a little bit of height on him, so I do like that matchup, but again, not able to put enough under it to make it work.
But now you see Simon picking up the disc. He has the entire field to work. You got to think that was part of the idea. You see Person going deep. Even with a good defender, you're going to put it just to make sure that if we do turn it, which this might be, we're getting that yardage and we're not so concerned about that upwind score.
That's right.
Lots of handler movement out of Seattle right now. They have a motionless horizontal stack. It's more just an amoeba, a bunch of people. Whoa, funky D that just flips the disc up. Nice D attempt by Minershagen. There's the shot upwind, difficult. Can cost him. Whoa, monster bid by Sefton. picks it up. They've got about 15 yards to work it in upwind. Huge save by Sefton. What a grab. We're going over to Zemmel, who's dishing it around, doing some handler movement. Zemmel 10 yards out. You want to see them value that disc a little more this time. It wasn't a bad decision last time, just that throw's difficult upwind.
Oh.
O'Brien throws it right into the ground, unfortunately.
Oh, and I liked what they were doing there. Sefton reels in a nice shot by Holt and then immediately gets it back to handlers, and they were off moving it really well until O'Brien let it dive. There's Sefton, great receiver. You'll see him eating dirt all the time to reel in throws, and Adam Holt knowing it, putting it out there. And Portland gets the disc and takes the timeout with 2:37 remaining in the second period. Seattle leading 8-7, and we'll be back.
Right away, nobody's Tridiak screaming back, trying to see if Friedman just gets deep, and nobody's on him. That throw's got to go. There it is. Friedman
nice
all
shot.
alone. Clark trying to chase it out. It might be going out the back, and it's too exciting. And ooh, looking off, there was Tridiak streaking deep. He had the yards, but it's a very difficult throw. You'd have to throw that about 60 yards upwind to make that viable, which Koss does a good job looking off. And Tridiak gets it underneath, sends it right back to Koss. Here's an option for a shot to Sewell, which again, Koss, let's just keep that disc. Uh-oh, another greatest attempt. You saw it last time. This time doesn't quite work. That's the second time we've seen a greatest attempt by Seattle.
Seth Wiggins trying to keep it in, but King from Portland knocking it down. Portland disc with about 20 yards to score.
20 yards, minute 25. Little scoober over the top to Bjorklund, but there's a travel on the throw, which is an automatic turnover called by the refs. No arguments, no talk about it. It's just a turnover.
And Seattle will get another shot to go upwind.
They've got a minute 12 left on the clock. Looking right away. Man, faking all these deep shots to what look like open cuts. There's the throw going up to traffic, and it looks like, whoa.
King goes up early. Sewell reels it in.
There you go. Tridiak with the disc. They've got a 4-on-3 power play right now. Sewell gets it over to Burton for the goal.
Sewell doing a nice job of reading that. He was going up there with King. King going up a little too strong, a little too early on that shot. Koss just putting it out into space. 3 Seattle players with space. And there's Skip Sewell reeling it in, looking for 1. And then there's 2. Mark Burton with the goal. With just under a minute remaining, that's a big goal for Seattle.
That's an upwinder. And now, you know, Portland's game plan right now is they have 53 seconds. Of course, they're going to try to score it upwind. Why not? Possibly threatening going out of bounds, and it's going to hit out of bounds. Again, too excited and throws it out.
Koss kept the last one in, though we didn't actually get to see where it would have landed, but Portland brought the last one in. This time they watch it go out of bounds just by 1 yard there. The clock will start with 53 seconds remaining.
Clock just started. Now the disc is alive. Loses a couple yards. They're just trying to keep possession right now, try to get that clock down to 20:15. Hopefully Seattle doesn't get a single shot, but Portland keeping control. 39 left on the clock. Moving it all the way over. Difficult placement. Brings it down. Nice work.
30 seconds remaining.
Centering it over to Friedman again. They got 28 on the clock. There's a big shot. It's going to be a turnover, giving Seattle 23 seconds left with Harkness bringing in the disc. About 70 yards to go.
And that is not what Portland wanted. With 15 seconds left, Seattle within reach. There's an open shot deep. Seth Wiggins holds on.
Wiggins sends it back to Sefton. 9 seconds left on the clock. And there's going to be a call, which is going to stop the clock at 7 seconds. You know, so far of the 4 quarters in preseason, 4 quarters of the first game, 4 of those 8 quarters have ended with Seattle scoring in the last 15 seconds. Seattle is a dangerous team to have the disc with 20 seconds left on the clock. So they got 12 seconds remaining. They're starting in a vertical stack. they're almost certainly going to take maybe 1 or 2 throws and then punch it in. Portland knows that and is lining up pretty on their hips. There's the fake crossfield hammer. Sefton takes the easy one over to Murray, who throws it across. And that's the turnover. That's going to be the end of and there's the buzzer going off.
A nice shot, but kind of in no man's land between 3 offensive players for Seattle. No one able to make a play on it. A nice attempt by Seattle to close out the half, but not able to score. But Seattle does go into the half up 9-7 against Portland, and the fans are getting quite a game out here in Seattle. And we'll see what these teams bring to the second half.
Mail time, everyone. Vero, Kip, PCAP, Carl, ooh, another one for Vero, Carl again, Sophia, Exton, Ningo, and one for accounting.
You're losing your touch, Ben.
And we're back at Chief Sealth Stadium live to start the second half.
Second half starting, and we're going down to Jenica Villamore for a moment. Jenica, are you there with us?
Hi guys, yeah, I can hear you. Right now we are at halftime. With me here is Dusty Becker, head coach of the Portland Stags. How do you feel about the game so far?
It's going great. We just got to move the ball. We got to huck the disc, but we got to be patient as well.
And it's 9-7 Rainmakers right now. It's a lot closer than it was the last time you guys played them. What are you guys doing differently? What's working for you?
We just believe that we're going to win. That's all.
Okay, and earlier I heard players talk about their personal matchups. Is that what's working for you guys?
Personal matchups are fine. It's just a team game. We just got to play team ball. We all got to play D. We all got to play O. It's pretty simple.
And lastly, what's it going to take to win this game tonight?
Just belief. That's it.
Great, thanks so much. Good luck. Coming up, we'll even talk to some fans. So far, it's been a very intense, pretty close game. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Jenica Villamore. You've seen a big pull by, whoa, there's a shot right now over to Sefton, who's alone. Whoa, bobbles it, pops it up, grabs it, brings it down for the upwind score by Seattle.
And that's a nice start for Seattle coming out of the half. We just heard from Portland's head coach, Justin Becker, who was preaching a lot of the belief, taking his team to church, bringing in the belief that they'll win and keeping them in this game. Of course, Seattle expands their lead out to 10-7 here with an upwind score to start the half.
No, this is their offense. It's their job to score. This is their business. This is how they made that team. But this is an awfully tough win to go against.
And the crowd's getting into it here for Seattle, so Portland needing that extra belief.
That disc comes in. They're taking it inside their own end zone, centering it, getting some easy handler movement as they're going to horizontal stack the going to 1-3-3 it looks like right now. They might have just transitioned into man though. Still looking like a somewhat junky offense. The downfielders were in zone. They've transitioned to man. And now we've got Friedman, who's working as a handler with Bjorklund. Moving that disc. They can't really gain too much field distance because, ooh, great bid, but holds on to it. Kosh showing some anger. As Friedman gets 5 yards out of this. Now the stack for Portland's looking awfully deep. which might be one of the reasons they're not able to get any either deep shots or unders. It's hard to get an under when the defense is guarding you underneath because they know you're too deep already. There's the shot by Friedman to an open Bjorklund. Defense gets there, and Harkness catches it for the D. Just straight up goes up, pretends he says, you know what, I'm offense now. Catches it and says, there we go. Here's Koss with the disc on the sideline over to Wiggins, working it up this easier sideline. Great D over there by Strout.
Back-to-back Ds here. Both defensive teams looking antsy to get that disc.
You can see on those jerseys how hard the wind is blowing. And we've got another very deep stack, another big D bid by Koss. Gets back up over on Friedman, who passes it over to Laurie. Still a deep stack, big shot going up, but lots of traffic there. And it looks like Spidell's going to come down with it, pretending he's offense again, just catching it like it's a game of 500. Wiggins, they've got the entire field to work with over to Harkness. Both teams shown very deep stacks, but that makes a little more sense when you're going with the wind. There's a challenge throw. This is going to be tough, but clean up by Wiggins as the two players, the intended receiver and defender, Friedman and Koss, go up early.
And it looks like a timeout call from Seattle. A little sloppy here in this point. A couple of plays that you know, kind of got away from them. That one by Harkness, lucking out, catches some wind there, and Wiggins able to hold on to possession for Seattle, but kind of sloppy on both ends. We'll see what Seattle does.
Absolutely. Bringing the disc is O'Brien, who gets it over to Murray right away. Murray pulls it over to Sefton. They're running 4 handlers back right now. They've just sent Holt upfield, so now it's 3 back. There's another Scoober out of Seattle. Lots of Scoobers, lots of movement now. Both teams very fired up, but the handler's keeping that disc in a little better. It's the Murray and Sefton show right now as they take it. Oh, whoa. You never want to see that.
And we'll probably see the referees checking in and Sefton getting a lot of contact. But clearly the excessive contact coming from Sefton, who pushes the defensive player down to the ground. He was getting hacked as he approached the goal line there, but a little bit excessive. He let the temper get a hold of him and shoved the defender down to the ground. That defender, Minershagen. Here's the play. Sefton and Murray. Minershagen really gets in there with some contact. Sefton frustrated, a clear push down to the ground. I don't know what the refs are going to decide there, but obviously Sefton losing control there. Minershagen with some contact, but not ridiculous. Sefton, though, letting his temper get the better of him.
You need the offense to keep cool, and you really need everybody in the game to keep cool, keep calm. It's a game, people get fired up, but this is too much. There you see Ted Warble warming up the crowd, trying to keep everything positive.
And Ted's good at that. He'll keep the crowd in this. Of course, we heard some groans with the play. It looks like Sefton will stay in here, so Seattle will bring it back in.
There's that play call, trying to go for a 2-putt. Looks to just work it right over to Holt, who gets it on the easy about 5-yard throw to the open side.
And some Portland players checking in with the refs. Some tempers rising here in the second half. That's right, Jake. I think that Sefton will probably cool his jets a little bit. Definitely has some respect for Coach Wiggins. Coach Wiggins definitely trying to keep the spirit alive here of sportsmanship in the game.
And now we've got, looks like Laurie got the disc, brings it down to a man defense. One extremely deep, it's getting hard to see out here, hard to see who's whom. But there are a couple extremely deep stags right now. Bjorklund alone in the end zone, but somebody's coming over to run with him. So it's still with handler movement. That disc is moving backwards, but the stack is not really moving back with the disc. Bjorklund with the disc fakes the difficult blade, which could have been a legit shot, but takes the nice swing instead. Still handler movement, still incredibly deep. Most of the stack is back in the back of the end zone. There's a shot, goes up early, can't bring it down. And now we see, it looks like Zemmel with the disc. Seattle up 11-7 right now. They got that pair of breaks, the upwind followed by the downwind break. And they're looking to put another one in and just cement this in. Nice bid by, it looks like, Root, who takes down Tridiak in the process. Tridiak's going to get 5 yards for that one. Again, man offense, man defense. Tridiak with the Blady flick. Not going to make it. Wow, big bid by Bjorklund, who manages to bat it down before Sewell gets the chance to get his hands on it.
And that's nice D. An ugly shot from Tridiak, trying to do too much there with an upwind flick.
Now it looks like Laurie's going to bring it in, try for the give and go. Both teams with extremely deep stacks, which looks okay going downwind, but you don't like to see it out of Seattle's upwind. That's one of the reasons that flick just couldn't possibly go far enough to be where it needed to be in this wind. Right now we got King with the disc, moving it up. Takes a shot into the end zone. Difficult shot, but makes it look easy.
And it looks like Laurie reeling it in there. A little Portland movement up the line for the goal to bring it up 11-8. See if they can attack going upwind. Here you see King with a nice quick shot up. Looks like Root over to Laurie reeling it in. And Portland just taking advantage of Seattle a little off guard on that.
Pull going up, nice pull. And the flag's still blowing hard. Jersey's still moving, but he makes it look easy, putting them about 15 yards outside their own end zone. Moving the disc real easy. There's a deep shot looking open, but Burton takes the easier shot over to Murray. Keep possession the whole time. Holt coming under after that deep shot. Back to Burton, who's going to go up and bring it down for the goal.
Buttery forehand there from Adam Holt. The defense close from Portland, but Burton able to reel that in easily. Holt with a nice shot out in front, just like you say, going downwind, puts it out in front of the defender so that only the offense can get there, and Burton, good speed, able to get there and reel it in.
It's 12-8. Of course, this is still the third quarter. Last time the third quarter ended, last game, was Vancouver down 14-6, and they brought it back 14-12 when Seattle went scoreless in the fourth.
So anything can happen here with 4:23 remaining in the third.
That's right. Seattle coming down with a man D, taking a little time to get on their men.
Oh, some contact downfield.
As Meyer goes down. Meyer goes down, and they're going to get 5 yards. Bringing 4 handlers back, 3 downfield in a horizontal stack. It's kind of isolating, and that throw goes a little too high.
Looks like he gets a few more yards here, as the ref indicates, just past the 40.
And that stack looking awfully deep, and you saw Harkness when he was bringing the disc in with his right hand signaling, hey guys, come closer, we're going upwind, you're too deep, this is too hard to throw. They're about 20 yards outside their own end zone, 15, working it to the difficult sideline, 3 yards out, puts it in for the upwind goal.
The 1-2 punch. And it looks like Sewell able to get the final shot there. Harkness starting that point off, not to his intended receiver, but a nice flat flick holding in the wind so that Seattle was able to maintain possession. Looking, I think, for the front of the stack there, who cut off his cut, and they work it over to the other side. A quick shot to Koss, a slice up to Harkness, and a little gimme to Sewell. Some nice.
Center the disc to so-and-so. This person goes deep, this person comes under, you're the continue. And when you're looking at a zone for the first couple of points, or the first couple of throws, you're really not sure where anybody can cut and those lanes aren't open. And once that's over, okay, now right back into man, which they're going into right now. Back into man, though Portland was able to gain about 25 yards off that transition. And they have the disc, whoa, monster bid over there.
Adam Holt striking into the lane there, a little bit soft on the swing pass. Holt taking advantage, gains 5 yards in the process.
There's Goosen on the mark, decides to force Holt flick, which is towards us. Holt's a lefty, of course, and he goes with the righty backhand flip over to Sean Sears for the goal.
Holt making it happen, earning his stats. Sears brings it in there with the headband for the goal. Seattle, the quick strike. Here you see Holt showing his lefty, then going right with the inside out to Sears. Friedman caught dumbfounded there, not expecting that inside out shot. Holt all smiles coming off the field.
Come out into the fourth quarter strong.
I'm not sure that Portland has the same gur and the same stamina as Vancouver. We'll see if they can turn it on like Vancouver did in the fourth period of last game. It looks like there's a call, an offsides call on the pulling team, so Portland will be taking it, it looks like maybe at midfield here.
Stags went down to San Francisco to play the Dogfish. They were also favored in the betting pools by about a 5.5-point ratio, and they ended up losing by 3. They were probably pretty happy with that result.
Yeah, Portland, a relatively young team in the scheme of this league, so I think beating the odds definitely plays into their confidence. Whether they can keep that going is yet to be seen.
That's right, as they're going to bring it in, going against a looks like a straight zone right now. It doesn't look quite transition yet, but they could be fooling us. Getting the disc. Portland looking nice in a zone transition, moving it, with little 6-5-yard throws, moving it backwards, not afraid to just take any open shot.
This
Trapped
is
on
trouble.
that sideline, double team comes in.
And this is what the zone is trying to do. They're trying to push him over to the sideline and then bring in that double team. Looking to do it pretty effectively there. We'll see what King can do to get off this line.
There's Urig Fox and Exton Titcomb just giving him a lot of hassle. Monster invert. Oh, yeah, monster invert scoober for about 50 yards. That was a huge scoober.
Friedman gets undercut there and hits the ground pretty hard. He had contact on the disc, actually. King put up a Hail Mary scoober, made it to the receiver there,
Here
Friedman.
you see King with the disc, puts up a giant scoober, just a monster of a scoober. Friedman looks, he's got some trouble and goes down pretty hard.
Gets bumped there by Barich. He looks to be fairly mobile. It looks like he's stretching there and just getting his wind back. He hit the ground pretty hard after getting bumped by Barich, a much bigger guy. And Portland will retain possession. It looks like a foul on the play, so Portland will bring it in on the goal line.
That's right, we have Laurie bringing it in. And Seattle's going with a junk right now, just trying to stop anything, just make it frenetic and see if they can't force something like that. A big scoober that this time was brought in pretty well, and King with the goal there.
Yeah, Seattle trying sort of a stunt to continue that zone on the line, and fairly effective. Again, a crossfield scoober, as we discussed earlier, just like a crossfield hammer on the goal line. A success for the defense, whether you get that D or not. You got to pat yourself on the back for forcing a tough shot like that on the goal line. 14-9, Seattle with 2:15 remaining in the third period.
That's right, 2:15 remaining. And right now you got Laurie giving a pretty good pull. Gets about 50 yards out of it as Seattle comes down, brings it up, and O'Brien's going to pick it up and get that disc started for Seattle. Coming out in a horizontal offense, O'Brien's got the disc, Holt's back along with Simon, moves it right upfield to Sefton immediately, getting 15 yards per throw over to Burton, looking easy. Those cutters looking awfully deep, but they're on their hips with their defenders, so they can cut under and get just a few yards. They decide when that race starts and where it goes, so they, of course, have a head start. There's Sefton holding the disc. Ooh, nice bid over there, but Minershagen couldn't get it. There's a deep shot over to Burton, diving, pulls it in.
Murray puts a nice bit of space and air under that one for Burton. Burton, a very athletic receiver, able to get it. You'll notice Burton, he'll get great yards and then look to dump and just move that disc, hoping to do what he just did, which is to catch it in the end zone. More of a receiver than a thrower. Murray used to have the same reputation, puts a nice touch forehand out for the goal there. And here's Murray just lofting it up. Tons of air under there for Burton. Burton out in front, and Root from Portland gives up on it. Burton able to reel it in. And forward momentum takes him down to the ground. Here you see Ted Werble getting the crowd fired up. The Seattle crowd is definitely fired up and chanting "Make It Rain" here under Seattle clear skies.
Absolutely. Warble having fun. Lots of folks having fun out there. I like what you said about Burton's play style. His average caught throw is a throw for about 30 yards or 40 yards. His average thrown throw is probably about even. He dumps a lot. He does occasionally take those upfield shots. And as you see, he'll probably develop into the kind of player that Sefton is. There's a giant hammer to an open, unbelievable throw over to Goosen, it looks like. And who threw that? That was just a monster 60-yarder to an open Goosen who looks like nobody was covering or nobody thought that throw could go up.
That was pretty. Goosen gets lots of yards there and a lovely hammer.
You know, Seth Wiggins being the deep there, he was the off the pull, I'm going to just take anything, any deep shot they have, they're challenging me. And, you know, Seth Wiggins is not the kind of guy you want to challenge in the air, but he can, of course, guard the whole thing, and that hammer was pretty pinpoint over to the side of the end zone where Wiggins didn't have a shot, and he might have been a little dumbstruck just watching it, thinking, is that really going up?
Nice placement. The downwind hammer, of course, a very gratifying throw, having that wind at your back.
Here's Simon bringing in the disc, trapped on that sideline, really frenetic D, and there's the throw goes up to Burton again, hoping for some help. Burton trying to run it out, gives the bid, but couldn't quite make it.
A nice attempt there from athletic Burton.
You know, I think a lot of that D came from the frenetic dump defenders where Simon, trying to get it off that sideline for a little while, eventually thinks, all right, we're on stall 5. I got to just look upfield and get this somewhere. Great work on stifling that handler movement by Portland, who's now showing some good handler movement of their own. As, wow, another big break throw, but can't get it over. As it looks like Murray pops it over, and Tridiak dishes it over to Simon for an easy goal after that monster D by Murray.
Murray doing a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight. And Seattle striking quickly off the transition. We've got just under 40 seconds remaining in the third period. Seattle up 16-10. Portland's going to need to make some quick strikes here if they have a shot to get back in this game. Portland not really showing the solid consistency that is needed to score upwind in an upwind-downwind game. We'll see if they can show us some of that here in the end of the third into the fourth period.
There's Koss with a monster pull, that disc floating, showing how strong that wind is right now. It's really blowing to our left and slightly away from us. As Bjorklund has the disc, fakes that hammer, and moves it over. There's a very deep stack, especially now with Norton back with the disc. Norton gets it off for about a 15-yard gainer. Right back to Norton in a power position. Nobody cutting deep for him, so he looks back, gets it off the sideline.
15 seconds remaining here in the third.
You know, they're going to keep that disc, even though they're going downwind. They probably want to wait until about 6 seconds left to throw it. And now we're down to 6 seconds. There's the shot going up. There's a crowd gathering. Wiggins goes up and gets a hand on it to D it.
And that'll bring us to the end of the third period here. Seattle hangs on to a 6-point lead. Seth Wiggins ensuring that with a nice D from a crossfield Hail Mary to close out the period. And Seattle fans getting restless, hoping that their team can hang on.
All right, we just finished the third quarter. Right now it's 16-10 Rainmakers. The crowd has been going wild, and I've definitely found some of the most spirited fans. What's your name?
Holly.
What's your name?
My name's Kat.
And what's your name?
I'm Annie.
And what brings you guys out to the game? Are you guys players?
We are, yeah. We actually all play on the same team.
And who are you guys rooting for?
Well, obviously the Rainmakers.
Do you have a certain player that you're rooting for in particular?
Reed Cross is my favorite player.
Why?
He's amazing. When you watch him, he just never stops. So, yeah.
And what about you? I see you have a shark there.
I am cheering on Sharkness, aka Sam Harkness, because he threw the greatest last week, which was amazing.
And who's your favorite player?
I say it's a toss-up between Donnie Clark and Phil Murray.
And lastly, who do you guys think will win the game tonight?
Rainmakers, obviously.
Rainmakers?
Rainmakers, no question.
And what do you think was the play of the night so far?
Taking the first point is always a good feeling. Yeah.
All right, well, thanks so much. Right now it's still 17-10 Rainmakers. It's not over yet. Coming up, I will be speaking with the players of the winning team, actually. So stay with us. Back to you guys.
Back here as we're getting set to start the fourth period of play. The Stags from Portland looking for a burst of energy here to try and overcome this 6-point lead from Seattle. Of course, Portland has to take on the Vancouver Nighthawks in Vancouver tomorrow, so that will be a test of stamina as Vancouver fighting with the Dogfish today, and Seattle will play the San Francisco Dogfish next week in San Francisco. So we'll see what Portland is able to bring here in the fourth quarter, of course keeping in mind that they have to be fresh again to battle the Nighthawks tomorrow.
Absolutely, you know, they got to be fresh physically, and they also have to be fresh mentally. You hate to end a game on a run where you don't feel very confident and have to start the next game. So they're going to try to put this one up. Win centering to Norton, who's got the disc. The stack's been much shallower now, looking good. Seattle bringing a junk right now. Not playing man yet, but they're just transitioning right now. And there's a drop, unfortunately, by Portland, whose McGinn just can't keep it in. And Seattle's going to have about 10 yards to chip it in as Zemmel brings it on the sideline, gets it off that sideline immediately, swings it all the way over to Wiggins, who's looking to go back either way. He doesn't care. He just wants to find an open thrower. And there you go, over to, it looks like Zemmel again.
That's Kinley who's reeling it in from Wiggins for the goal. And Seattle doing a much better job than Portland of the swing continues off of the dump. You saw Norton on the throw that got dropped there, not able to get his swing off, both because it was too far and then not open. Here's Wiggins with the disc in the middle of the field. Several cuts, nice fake, and Kinley breaks off for the nice inside-out forehand. Seth Wiggins making a tough shot look easy.
That's all it takes, and that's why you see those little chip shots right into that goal.
And you see a lot of cuts off the front of the stack, both because the back of the stack can see when the front is cutting, and also because cutting from the front of the stack makes for a shorter and easier throw.
Uh-oh, there's a deep shot right away as Hayes breaks loose, and Simon picks him up. A little scary, huge bid, and that's the D. Unreal. That was Barrage flying through. Sorry, that was Burton flying through. Number 16, you saw him usually being an offensive deep cutter, and there he's showing off some speed. He's the guy that you don't want to play in the races.
Great defensive play from Burton.
Looks like O'Brien with a very difficult throw, that small invert flick. One of the hardest throws in Ultimate, over to a challenge throw, and wow, nice catch. Over, bringing it back. That was McGinn with the catch D. And now it's off to the races as Goosen has the disc, and they're just screaming up before Seattle's got a chance to really get on their man. Back over to King, and you hear the crowd chanting defense's clear home team advantage over here as the Stags looking to work it in, put one, and get rid of this 7-point deficit. The throw goes up. Simon's there to challenge it and pulls it down. There you go.
Simon winning position. A late stall count throw into traffic.
There's a deep shot over to Sewell, who's going to probably get it inbounds, but it's going to be challenged by King. He goes for the greatest. This is the third greatest attempt we've seen in 3 days.
Making contact from leaving inbounds, though, important because Sefton lofted that from the goal line. Had Sewell not made contact after leaving inbounds, that would have gone back to the goal line. So a nice bid from Matt Sewell.
Yeah, great point. You know, Sewell clearly his body trying to bring that disc inbounds. It's really hard. It's not quite like basketball where you can just push it back inbounds. It's a frisbee. It's a disc. You got to really catch it and throw it back inbounds. But as long as he catches it, he is an inbounds player, and that disc comes in so that the Stags have about 60 yards to work it. All the way over to Hayes, who's looking at an extremely deep stack, though that's not so bad with the wind. The wind's still screaming, as you can see from throws like that. Little communication helped to get that disc all the way back to Hayes.
And there's a whistle. Again, Portland looking for these handler shots that are far across the field. They don't have a little chip. They need to get open as handlers, and Seattle defense making that tricky.
Wow, nice save over there. A little bit throw too far in front. You expect after those difficult, there you go. After those difficult handler shots, they just try something deep, and he gets it. He gets it. Even though Zemmel's flying past him, a little too far away for me to see who that was. He's going to be double teamed as they try to stop it on the goal line. And there's the throw going across as King brings it in, and that's counted a goal. There you go.
Yeah, nice shot downfield. Zemel all over his back trying to get there, but he's able to reel it in. And here's the replay. It's up. There he is streaking. And that's Hayes. Brings it in. Number 17 on number 17. Zemel not able to get there. Hayes brings it back in bounds and is able to step around. And of course the Rainmakers having a couple of Portland players on that team as well. The city's proximities allowing for some cross-pollination.
That's right, and you're seeing both teams doing a lot of the same kind of handler work, the same horizontal stacks like we're seeing right now, lots of man defense. It's a real bread and butter kind of game, back to the basics, back to the foundational work. Oh, there's a foundational throw, a big bladey flick over, and ooh! Tridiak manages to get a hand on it in between, sandwiched between two taller players, but can't bring it down.
Tridiak motioning to Harkness, hey, put it up, I'll get it. Almost gets there. Harkness, maybe a little bit too much air under that one. Tridiak did have a step, but by the time that throw came down from the rafters, anybody's ball.
You know, it's a 6-point lead, 6 minutes to go. Maybe they're thinking, oh, no big deal, whatever, we can afford to take some fun shots. But as you saw last week, that's not always the best plan, as Portland Stags have the disc, as McGinn has it about 5 yards into his own end zone, gets it out over to Minershagen. Centers it up to Knapp, who's looking at almost all the throwers are handlers. And there's the caught point block by Harkness, who gets the point block and then just catches it. Plays offense, and Simon with the goal from Murray.
Murray, a nice delivery to Simon. Again, Seattle quick strike after a D. Portland offense transitioning to defense, doesn't have a chance to get set. Seattle catching them on their heels for a quick strike. Murray serving up goals tonight. Setting the table. Simon getting out his fork and knife, chowing down on another goal out Seattle. 18-11 with 5:36 remaining. Sam Harkness making that play happen on a point block. Knocks it out of the air as Knapp looked to go to Friedman. Friedman back in from injury. Harkness shuts it down, makes the catch, and then again right into transition offense for Seattle. There you see Simon with another goal.
They want to win this quarter, otherwise I promise you Coach Wiggins is going to make that Monday workout extra difficult.
That's right.
There's the pull going up. He's pulling it, just shooting straight off out of bounds so that it can come in at that sideline. The disc lands in bounds, rolls out, and it's going to come in at the sideline where every throw is going to be downwind, hopefully, but it's going to be pushed out of bounds. And there's that throw going across field. Nice work.
That's going
over
out.
Barrage is going. Ooh! Almost gets 3 points on that one.
They sent two defenders, did Portland, down to the end zone, looking for that quick strike with just under 5 minutes remaining. The clock is ticking. Seattle up 18-11.
That's right, 18-11. There you see a nice bid over by Root, getting fired up against Wiggins. As Seattle, again, looking unfazed as these people are flying by him. Big hammer over to Trotter, who brings it down. Trotter dumps it. There's a deep stack, man defense by Portland.
Ooh, shimmy shake, up line, trouble.
There we go. Disc is up. They're about 40 yards out right now, swinging it across as Kinley finds an open player. That's Trotter with the disc. Looking backwards, nice stifled D by the defender downfield. Trotter tries to bring it in, can't quite get there.
A little too much by Kinley.
That's right, 4:06 remaining in the game, as it looks like King's going to bring it in. Horizontal stack. And they're moving it upfield pretty well right now. Looking like they got some cuts. There's a deep shot going, but no throw.
Call the play, contact.
Root gets to bring it up 5 yards on Wiggins. Root taking that disc over to Purston. Purston with the disc again. Little give and goes right now as the stack gets too deep and the handlers have to move it between themselves. Not finding anything open upfield. Nice push pass. Over, it's off to the races. They got about 15 yards to go. There's the throw. Donnie Clark with a monster layout bid and can't, and no, he gets it. He gets it. Clark lays out and gets that D.
Nice D by Seattle. After Portland getting some room, Seattle on their heels. And if you like what you're seeing here, go online and sign up for your Fantasy Ultimate team, fantasy.mluultimate.com. There, put Donnie Clark on your list. That's a point for the defense.
That's going to be a point every time as Wiggins takes a timeout to try to regroup. 3:01 left in this game. And
Fan appreciation night, wanting a t-shirt here for the MLU. And here you see MLU games next Saturday. Boston Whitecaps at the New York Rumble, DC Current at the Philadelphia Spinners, Portland Stags at the Vancouver Nighthawks, and Seattle Rainmakers will travel to San Francisco to take on the Dogfish. Tune in mluultimate.com/tickets to get tickets and for all information on all the MLU action.
That's right, Tridiak with the disc on the sideline, dishing it up. They're working upfield real well. Sefton with the disc again. Lots of movement. There's a call on the play, and it's going to be a gain 5 yards here. Nope. Yeah, it's a gain 5 yards. There's a little foul. You see Seattle in a vertical stack. Portland Stags man defense. He's got to get it off this sideline. Not sure how to do it. He's going to have to throw something. There's a throw too high to Chicken and brought down by Meyer, who just bats it down, says, no. You're not scoring anymore in this game. 2:15 left in the in the game. As drawing a foul is Jeremy Norton, another Seattle player who's down in Portland now. Bringing it over. Crowd chanting defense. Next week is going to be Portland's first, Portland's still away, but it'll be Seattle's first away game.
Just under 2 minutes here. Portland's going to need to make some quick strikes if they have any chance of climbing back into this game. At this point, unlikely, though. That's a nice shot.
Beautiful shot to a deep streak in Hayes, who brings it in for a nice goal.
Beautiful downwind forehand.
Sorry, that's Purston. That was Purston with the disc. That's more what we expected from the beginning of this game. Lots of deep shots to Purston, but that is his first goal this time. I'd still keep him on that fantasy league. He's going to score a lot this season.
That's right. And Friedman, of course, back off the bench after an injury.
You know, in these timed games, it's not too uncommon to be the winning team but not score the last goal. That's not possible historically in traditional Ultimate, where the game was to 15 or to 17 or to 13. It was to a point score, which means you always won by scoring that last point. Here, it might not feel so good to win a game when you've just been scored on 2-3 times in a row. You don't have that good feeling. As Seattle working it upfield, Harkness with the disc, over to Zemmel. Zemmel looking for somebody open, and finds it looks like Attic with the disc. Attic dishing it back up to Zemmel. Really some hard throws here. Good work on the Portland defense, playing sticky man, given very small windows. As Zemmel draws a foul, gets half the distance to the goal line. He's got 3 yards, just has to chip it in. Harkness has his dump. Looking to get Harkness. No dump anymore as Harkness left. Zemmel there, he has to throw something, puts it up, and there's a nice D. Great work by the Portland defense.
Good defense and a little bit scrambly from Seattle's end zone offense, sending a dump up the line. Cole with the D, as Seattle abandons their dump and has to put something up into traffic.
Exactly, you know, that was exactly what happened, is the dump went upfield to try to get that goal. Once the dump's not there and the defense shuts that down, they don't really have much of an option. That stall's getting up, he just has to throw something.
And it's up to the front of the stack to come back for that dump in that position.
Whoa, huge D. What a D by Attic. Attic, the most seasoned veteran in the MLU. He's in his 40s and built like a Marine. He's showing why he's on here. As Harkness has the disc, moving it over to Zemmel. Little Harkness and Zemmel show with the handler movement, as they're looking for some help from some downfield cutters who are guarded by a very stifling Portland defense. 8 seconds left, 7 seconds left in the game. 5 left, and that's going to be the game. They're not even going to pick it up as it counts down. 0 seconds. Game's over. 18 Seattle, Portland 12, as the fourth quarter ends and the game is brought to an end here at Chief Sealth Stadium.
And of course, Seattle would have loved to finish with a score, but they do finish with a nice cushion in front of a wonderful hometown crowd here at Chief Sealth Stadium. A couple of solid wins at home in these first couple weeks for the Seattle Rainmakers. Check out recaps, player bios, and more. SeattleRainmakers.com and PortlandStags.com are the team websites. And of course, MLUultimate.com for all of your Major League Ultimate info, stats, replays, gear. What else, Jake?
They got everything. They got the schedules up there. And we've got Jenica Villamore out there. And Jenica, we're going down to you.
Hi guys, well, Seattle Rainmakers celebrating their second win of the season. With me now is Seth Wiggins. Congratulations on the big win.
Thank you very much.
Now tell me a little bit about this game. I mean, at first it was definitely very intense and it was a lot closer than now.
Yeah, it started out pretty close. They hit some good shots and they were in the game the whole time. They've got some good athletes, so had to play tough, and we eventually were able to pull away.
Final score 18-12 Rainmakers. What did you guys do to really pull away in that third quarter?
There wasn't much that we made in terms of adjustments defensively or offensively. We just kept grinding. We figured our game plan would work out eventually and executed.
And what do you think was your guys' biggest challenge tonight?
Just keeping our composure. Just executing, just X's and O's, throws and catches. It's a really simple game when you boil it down. So just kind of block everything else out and go out and play.
And what do you think was really the big game changer? I mean, why did you guys win tonight's game? What did you guys do?
We were able to deal with the wind a little bit better. We were able to, yeah, I mean, it really just goes back to throws and catches. So I wish I had a more complicated answer for you, but it really is that simple. If you can throw and catch in the wind, you're probably going to do pretty well.
And when's your guys' next game?
Next Saturday, we're in San Francisco. And then the following week, we're back here against Vancouver.
Great, well, thank you so much. Congratulations on the win and good luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, the Stags will host their first home game of the season tomorrow, where hopefully they will pull their first win. Live from the sidelines, back to you guys, Major League Ultimate.
All right, thanks so much, Jenica, and thank you, Seth Wiggins and Seattle Rainmakers. Congratulations. Throws and catches. Ladies and gentlemen, practice those at home. For Jake Cooper, I'm Dave Bestock, Major League Ultimate. Stay tuned for more action. Next time. Next time. Next time.